Skipping forward to page 23. What we skipped is an insert, which is often done, but time makes it easy to not do it today. What we have in the relationship with Chenrezig is a very powerful tool, and like any powerful tool, certain precautions and certain skill is required in order for that tool to bear its fruit. On page 23, in the prayer that's titled The Prayer of Chenrezig, Gelong Pema Karpo's Heart Practice, so many centuries ago there was one great being whose existence and works are quite thoroughly documented, and his name was Tongtong Gyalpo, who did many amazing things over a very long period of time, so amazing that he was also renowned for things which are hard to believe. We'll put that aside for the moment. One of the things that Tongtong Gyalpo says is that he remembers. Let's see, maybe I should just read that little piece. Where is that piece? There it is. Is it on 30? Oh yeah. On page 30 at the bottom, which we appropriately call the small print. This prayer was recited by the great Siddha, which means a great accomplished being, Tongtong Gyalpo. It was recited by the Siddha Tongtong Gyalpo as he recalled the words from a former life. At one time, he was born as the monk Pema Karpo, practicing the Nunye, which is a practice with Chenrezig in another form, where Chenrezig has 1,000 arms. Practicing the Nunye from age 20 to 80. He supplicated with these words one pointedly to noble Chenrezig. Hence the prayer indeed possesses the supreme mark of blessing. So that prayer that he remembered is what we're going to do now. So it starts on page 23. One of the things worth noting here, without going too deeply into the details of it, like almost any spiritual tradition that we know of, in this tradition we also have descriptions of various realms in which sentient beings appear. And because of the role of karma, which is really in many ways about the truth of interdependence, that is, everything we do bears some result somewhere, sometime. And because of that, we can assume that there are many different realms in which sentient beings exist. Some of them might even appear invisible. And it is taught that some of them are invisible to most of us because those realms are primarily inhabited by beings who have died. Of course, they've all died at some time or another. And at the time of death, death is, in this life, the time of death is the largest transition that most of us face. And so depending upon our state of mind and so many other things, that transition lands us in new experiences. And those experiences, there's a lot written about it, but we're not going to go into that today either. Suffice it to say that at the time of death, the transitions occur, and it's based upon the truth of interdependence. So all the things that one has done, thought, said, imagined, the whole plethora of experiences that that person has had, they all become a piece of what manifests at the time of death before a future life. So Tongtong Gyalpo remembered this prayer. This prayer is about a practice that is focused entirely upon relieving the suffering of others. That's not quite right. Relieving the suffering of all other beings by virtue of imagining that Chenrezig's ability to spontaneously purify all of the causes of suffering, that in this practice we constantly call forth that ability from Chenrezig, and we imagine that by virtue of Chenrezig's ability to do it, the request manifests in the form of light that radiates to these various realms, removing the experience of suffering and its causes both together. So we'll read this up to page 30. Yes, up to page 30 together. And at the end of each phrase, we recite the mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum. So let me read the first section so that you can see how it works. At the top of page 24, it says, I pray to you, Lord of Love, Chenrezig, victorious and compassionate. This is Tongtong Gyalpo's words from previously. Victorious and compassionate one, hold us with your compassion. For beings experiencing unbearable suffering, wandering numberless in endless samsara, there is no refuge other than you, protector. Grant the blessing to attain all-knowing Buddhahood. Then, propelled by negative karma, accumulated from beginningless time, sentient beings are born in hell. So this is not the same hell as the Christian hell. It's a different situation, which we can cover later this afternoon. They're born in hell by the force of anger and experience the suffering of heat and cold, extremes of which are associated with this realm. May they be born in your presence, Supreme Deity. And then we say, Om Mani Padme Hum. And at that time, when we say Om Mani Padme Hum, we imagine that from Chenrezig's body, the 5 colored lights radiate out, brilliant, like 1,000 suns, just an explosion of light. And that light goes to all the realms, and strikes the beings in those realms and instantly purifies the experience of suffering and the causes of suffering. So we'll recite that up to page 30, is it? I keep forgetting it. Okay. Together. And let's, now that we know what we're doing, right? Mm-hmm. You know what you're doing, right? Say yes. Yes. That's the first step. Fake it till you make it. We'll go through it all together. We'll recite it in Tibetan, so it'll be easy to know where we are. And up to page 30. Imagine that this is happening as best as you possibly can.
Oi, so what if so Lama Chenrezig, so what if so Yidam Chenrezig, so what if so Pacho Chenrezig, so what if so Yidam Chenrezig, so what if so Jangan Chenrezig, to Jesus Shikawa to Jechen, Tame Korwa Drang Me Kyang Gyuchen, Zume Dunyang Yong Wedrowa, Gumpo Kile Kyashen Machiso, Nam Kien Sangye To Parjin Gilo,
Tokme
Dune Linyen Sabetu, Shedang Wangin Yawake Gyurte, Sadrang Dunya Yongwe Sen Chenam, La Choke Kirunduke Worsho, Om Mani Padme Hum, Tokme Dune Lenyen Sapetu, Serne Wangi Dakne Suke, Trekom Dunyang Yongwe Sen Chenam, Shincho Potala Ruke Warshuk, Om Mani Padme Hum, Tokme Dune Lenyen Sapetu, Timo chok dewa chendu ke wo omone peme om tok me dune lengen zapetu chok wangi lamine suke tabsu dunya nyong we sen chenam otalai shindu ke wo shuk omane peme om tok me dune lenyen sakpetu Yagawangi laine suke potum dunya nyong we sem chenam otai shinduke wajo omane peme Dakni keshin kewatam jedu Chenrezig Sunday pai Madak chingi dronam wadam son chogege Pacho ke la sowa de petu tagido jajo pedro anam ledre lenge wele latson rowe dundu chudam Now, the next section, which is page 31, it starts by saying, by praying one pointedly in this manner. This actually references back to the homage place where we were reciting the homage. So oftentimes the texts will have multiple sections in it, and sometimes they jump around a little bit. This one just goes back to the homage. Really simple. So by praying one pointedly in this manner, and then it says, light radiates from the body of the Noble One and purified. Now we're back to this point. So it's just that one, just the homage by itself, and then it comes back to page 31. By praying one pointedly in this manner, light radiates from the body of the Noble One. That's what we just were meant to witness. Light radiating from Chenrezig, and purifies impure karma, appearance, and deluded mind. So all of that happens on this page. The outer environment becomes the realm of Dewa Chen. So Dewa Chen is what we call the Pure Land, in this case of the Buddha Amitabha, which is especially associated with Chenrezig. So the outer environment becomes the realm of Dewa Chen. So all of the outer environment we experience as the realm of the Pure Land of Amitabha. Now, given the practice leading up to this point, we are meant to have a sense
let's call it the view at this point, that we are actually, whether we recognize it or not, in the realm of Dewa Chen. The body, speech, and mind of the inhabitants become, so this would be us, become the exalted body, speech, and mind of the powerful Chenrezig. So when Chenrezig radiated light to purify all the realms, I left a piece out, apologize for that. You were meant to, at the same time that Chenrezig's light strikes those beings and purifies them of all their suffering and the causes of suffering, they instantly appear as Chenrezig. So we now have ourselves in the realm of Dewa Chen, completely surrounded by not just the forms, but appearances of Chenrezig. Appearance, sound, and awareness are inseparable with emptiness. Now, this is the first spot that we encounter the emptiness aspect. At this point, there is a ritual, which again, intentionally put aside for today. A ritual where, for want of a better expression, where we manifest the dissolution of Chenrezig and have the experience of residing just in emptiness, no form. So that we'll do on another month or another time, but that's what's being referred to here. The body, speech, and mind of the inhabitants become the exalted body, speech, and mind of the powerful Chenrezig. Appearance, sound, and awareness are inseparable with emptiness. In other words, we often say there is no such thing as an appearance of any kind. In other words, no such thing as an experience which is not also endowed with emptiness. The emptiness was there from the very beginning, but we never get to see the emptiness. The emptiness is always the appearance. So when we hold the page up, that's the appearance. When we feel sad, that's the appearance. When we speak, that's the appearance. But the emptiness is always present with it. It doesn't come into being suddenly when we stop breathing or when we lose the object of our meditation. That's not the point at which emptiness appears. Emptiness never appears. But because emptiness is always there, the appearance can disappear. Clear? Say yes. So it's important to have a small, at least, relationship with the emptiness, some little piece of understanding about it, because it's critical. The farther you go with any of the practices, it's critical to have an understanding and have, I say this very tenuously, an experience of emptiness, because actually there's no such thing. Or more correctly, we could say, all experiences are also the experience of emptiness, because emptiness is embodied in all things. But what we experience is the appearances, the feeling. When we have the feeling, when we place our awareness on the object of our shamatha, we place our awareness on that object, we have a feeling, we have an experience. That experience also disappears at some point. It disappears because emptiness was always there. And the appearance always is endowed with the emptiness also. There is no such thing as an appearance which is not also fully embodying emptiness. So if you say that to yourself often enough, you'll start to have a feeling for it. Okay. So that's why they say appearance, sound, and awareness are inseparable with emptiness. Okay. So in the dissolution, where as Chenrezig we dissolve in stages, the entire outer environment, not just our own bodies as Chenrezig, but the entire experience of the environment dissolves by stages into the various pieces of it until it comes down to a point of light which then vanishes. And normally we rest in that place. So in one sense, the idea is to rest there in Mahamudra, like full realization, rest in that place when the final dissolution occurs. However, since most of us cannot do that, maybe nobody in this room can do that, the tradition is that we do a very short meditation following the dissolution. Like when we talk about a 3-second shamatha, that's kind of what we're talking about. A very short dissolution so that you can get the dissolution and the experience, and then we let go of it. Let go of the emptiness, let go of the appearance, everything is let go of. Before we ruin it by telling ourselves how great we are, for example. So then we come to page 33. Maybe we should go through this. No, I think it's good enough. Okay. When we arise from that emptiness, this is, in a way, one of the most important parts of the entire Chenrezig practice. When we arise from that emptiness, there are a few views that we need to invoke. The first one, they're all stated clearly in English. The first one is the apparitional bodies of myself and others, right? So we have found ourselves following Chenrezig's purification. The light radiates out and everything is purified of the suffering and its causes. Then we are left with just apparitional bodies. The apparitional bodies of myself and others are the body of the Noble One. In other words, in essence, all appearances, when we say body, we mean really an appearance, is the appearance of Chenrezig. Clear? Body and appearance are basically synonymous in this particular case. So we imagine that our own bodies and the bodies of all others and the appearances, these are all apparitional forms. So the apparitional bodies of myself and others are the body of the Noble One. So every appearance, which we're also calling apparitional, kind of like something that is barely there, is actually the appearance of Chenrezig. So there is no form that appears solid or not, which we do not hold the view or see it through the view of. This is the appearance of Chenrezig. Sounds are the melody of the 6 syllables. The 6 syllables are Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. And the 6 syllables are also the essence of all sound. So that's the mantra of Chenrezig. That's the essence of the speech of Chenrezig. And so we've got to go back to this over and over for the next 10 years. I think it takes about 10 years. It's very important to think. when it says the sounds are the melody of the 6 syllables, I am Chenrezig. So this is not somebody else's speech as the 6 syllables. That's easy to imagine. Chenrezig, of course, speaks a different language. It must. No, this is actually our language. It's everything that we say, every sound that we make is the sound of the 6 of the mantra. Whether we're making it or someone else is making it, the idea is that we see it, we hear it, we experience it through that view, that this is the sound of the mantra in essence. It doesn't sound like Om Mani Padme Hum. We're not meant to hear a jet go over and try and drown it out by shouting Om Mani Padme Hum. But the sound is the sound of the 6 syllables. Okay? If that drives you nuts, you're on course. Okay, the sound, the melody of the 6 syllables. Thought, this is the best one, in my humble opinion. Thought and memory, we all have both of those things, are waves of great intrinsic awareness. In other words, the thought and memory are the appearance, the experience of realization. Normally we think of thought and memory during meditation as a distraction, right? Something to guard for, something to ward off. The distraction, in this case, we are not warding it off. We are intentionally viewing all experience that arises in the mind as waves of great intrinsic awareness. So while that may feel impossible to do, if you try often enough, you will get it from time to time. By this virtue, then, may I quickly accomplish the state of powerful Chenrezig and establish all beings without exception on that level. And Tongtong Gyalpo's the small print referring to him, the recitation for the meditation of the great compassionate one benefiting beings, pervasive as space, being endowed with the blessed speech of the great Siddha, Tongtong Gyalpo. Let's see, why don't we recite this from the end of the dissolution forward. The ones that we're talking about. Yes, page 33. Just 33. Wait a minute. No, let's not stop at 33. Let's do the dedication on page 35 and 36. That'll do.
Dedication on 35.
Where are we?
Okay, excuse me.
Oh, I see. No, we're on 30. We're going to do 33. Where are we? 33 to 37. Thanks, Bill.
Tibetan. In Tibetan.
Yes.
Okay.
We're good.
Adakshan lunam pape kuda kige drupeyang drento geshe chenpoilong gewadi nyududa Chenrezig wandrugyune drowa chikyang malupa dei salagupar Sonam yeshe le jungwe tampaguni droparsho Jangchu semni rimpoche make panang ke gyurchi ke panyam pa me padang gong me gong du pel warjo.
Thanks. This afternoon, when you come back, I have a couple of references for anyone who wants to explore the practice in more depth, since it takes time to learn it. And of course, the pieces that we've chanted today are recorded and can be listened to by anyone. So there's, if you wish to, you have a head start, and if you wish to next year, that's still there. So we'll bring a couple of things, I will anyway, and you can decide what you want to do. I think we're going to have some announcements, right? Okay, and before she starts, it's 12:05. Let's, why don't we come back at 1:15? Oh, wait a minute, 1:30. We might need a little tiny bit more. 1:40, something like that.
Okay, we'll come back at 1:40. That'll be Q&A, I think. And quick announcement, you've probably all heard many times, but it's this very next Saturday, noon to 3:30 here, the annual Sangha Wingding. A lot of info on the site about that.
Something else. One of the themes in the Wingding is going deeper. I'll just leave that as a teaser for some of the things that we'll talk about. But along those lines, we have a couple of things going on this year. One of which is Julie's continued series to go deeper into the death and dying explorations. Another thing that we're going to do this year is to go into the practices associated with the Mahamudra program, the Wendo practices, and all the other practices. And there'll be ongoing series, and that will start on Saturday morning, the 17th of February. And I encourage everybody who's been a participant in the Mahamudra program to consider attending. This, as Michael mentioned, there's a big challenge for us to look into how it is that actually we create our own experience, our own realm, you could say. And so the practices of the Mahamudra program do actually challenge us in ways to go deeper and deeper into that. So I encourage all of you to come, if you're new to the program, to come so that you can get support and ongoing additional instruction. And if you've been a part of it for a long time, I would offer you the invitation to come and look deeper into the practices that you're already familiar with. There isn't any practice that we can't look deeper into.
Oh, Philip has something. You can use this one.
About that wingding.
Wingding.
The program is going to include the lower level. We're going to go to the lower level, and one of the the deeper level, And one of the exciting things about that is we get to clean the lower level in order to be deeper, yes, deep clean it. And so that's one of the several volunteer opportunities we have coming on Friday and Saturday. We'll be cleaning on Friday morning, and then hopefully some strong bodies can come later on in the morning and help us move tables and other furniture from their various, storage places, so we can begin our occupancy of the lower level. And then on Saturday also, your help would be appreciated for the program itself. So if you're available for any of that, see me. Thanks.
Thank you, Will.
Get out of here.